Welcome back to the Crooked Spine Show. I'm here with Brooke Simonson, correct?
Yes, Simonson,
Yep.
got it.
Brooke Simonson. She is a certified nutrition coach and weight loss expert. I like her information. I was going through her website and everything, what's going on with the holidays coming. This is October 2021. We just got through Halloween, which is all the great candies, right? Okay. Now, how do we get ready for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for all our holiday festivities, all the foods we love to eat? But then we're if you want to regretful come January. We go, why did we do all that again every year as every year happens? So we're going to walk through with Brooke how to make our nutrition lifestyle long lasting, but also simple and natural, and understanding how she helps her clients both with the mindset, the behavior changes, but also eating the foods you like to eat, that point, make it part of your plate also. Right. So Brooke, what's going on and how did you get into this overall?
So I started actually as a high school English teacher out of
Awesome.
college, and I lived in New York City at the time. And I say I never really gained the freshman 15, as we call it in college,
Mm-hmm.
but I did gain about 20 pounds after college and couldn't kind of figure out what was going on. I also felt really fatigued all the time, kind of hangry. I hit this point where I
Yeah.
was so hungry and I was really
Mm.
cranky at the same time. Just bloated and overall gross. And I kind of thought, what the heck is happening? I'm in my 20s. This is supposed to be the prime of my life, as everyone
Oh.
says. And I wanted to look and feel better. So I tried what I think all of us have tried probably at one point in our
Mhm.
life. I tried different juice cleanses, cutting out carbs, exercising almost every day for 45 plus minutes,
Good.
counting every calorie in an app. I mean, I literally tried everything and
Mhm.
nothing worked. And when I say nothing worked, I mean, I wasn't ever able to lose 5 or 10 pounds and keep them off. I would lose the weight in the short term, but then I would always gain it back when I kind of stopped restricting as much or following as many rules.
So
So
there's
I
like
kind of,
there's a period of where it was if you want to call it a period, you would do it, and it may work for a while, but the problem is it's not sustainable at that level all the time.
exactly. And I felt like losing weight and keeping it off really required me to kind of be a bit miserable and to cut things out that I loved. So I gave up for several years and just kind of settled for, oh, it must be my metabolism or it's maybe the stress of my job. And I thought, maybe this just happens to everybody when they enter the workforce and they get older. And
Did you
then in
see a
my
medical
late
doctor too? Do you see a medical doctor go the medical route and figure out what's going on medically, blood work?
I mean, I didn't really have, yeah, I wouldn't say I was like to that extreme where I
Okay.
needed to
Okay.
involve a doctor.
Mhm.
But I just, yeah, it was more just kind of me troubleshooting on my own. I never really got any advice from a doctor in terms of weight loss. I mean, that was never really a conversation.
Okay.
So it was really just me, I guess, doing the approach that a lot of people do, like Googling things, trying what friends have tried, and just kind of throwing darts in the dark and seeing if they would hit, and
Mhm.
nothing did. So in my late 20s, I had this kind of resurgence to look and feel
Okay.
better. And I decided to go a different route and just become as educated as possible. So I dove into scholarly articles. I read a bunch of books. I got my hands on a bunch of podcast episodes. And eventually I ended up enrolling in the Institute of Transformational Nutrition, where I got my certification to be a nutrition coach, not
Mhm.
even so much to become the nutrition coach, but just again to get as much education as I could about
Good.
how to look and feel my best the sustainable way. And I guess through all of this years of research, I say I kind of finally cracked the code and figured it out. And then my passion for teaching English disappeared as through this process. And I was just really wanting to get the word out there to everyone
Good.
about how to have the same success I did. So that's when I left my teaching career and started my nutrition coaching practice, which I've had for about 2 years now.
You jumped into it 100%.
I did. I say I went down a rabbit hole. It was kind of my hobby on nights and
Mhm.
weekends when I wouldn't be teaching. I
Yep.
started a blog. I just wanted to shout from the rooftops
Mhm.
everything that I was learning. And a lot of people didn't want to listen. I found if you just show up
Perfect.
to a dinner and talk to your friends about what
Like,
you're learning
here comes Brooke again. She probably talked about her normal class, recent class, whatever it is.
yeah, my friends weren't super interested in hearing from me. So thought might as well
Well,
start a blog, and that's how I started getting the word out.
well, the thing is, when you have people that don't understand, they know you as an English teacher, correct?
Yeah.
As this Brooke, and you switch now. This Brooke's over here. I'm like, whoa, what happened to Brooke over here? But what I like is that you wanted to get the message out because you had the knowledge from your self learning, from your classes too, and from certification. Most people don't want to do that, and
Yeah.
because you're doing it now, you've done it for 2 years. That's why you're helping people directly, one-on-one, even in your Facebook group too, and Instagram, to help people understand when they're ready that there's a different way.
For sure. And I think I bring the teaching aspect into it as well. I had
Mhm.
such a passion for teaching. So I still
Great.
feel as if I'm using those skills, but I'm now just
Mhm.
teaching something I'm way more passionate about. English was great and fine, but that's in the
It's
past.
good. Yeah, for me personally, I never, that was if it was one subject, I was never, my C subject was English.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
That's
I love
okay.
math, everyone's one. But it's
If
something
you
when
ever want
you're,
to know grammar, punctuation tips, I can also help you with those.
yeah, thanks. I'll get back to you on that one. I'll hold off on that for now. And with what's going on too, you've helped people for 2 years. And it looks like you kind of trademarked your 3A approach. Let's go right into it. What is the 3A approach?
So I made it up. If nobody's heard it, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, excuse me?
You trademarked it, right?
Yeah, I haven't officially trademarked it, but yes.
You have, though. Quote.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, nobody steal it. But I guess I would say through working with clients and through all of my research that I've done, I realized that healthy, sustainable weight loss really boils down to 3 A's, which are awareness, attitude, and accountability. So awareness is that education piece, just learning what actually works for sustainable weight loss, which isn't all of the fads and detoxes and green juices and meal replacement shakes out there. So getting the rudimentary knowledge you need and learning why you're eating different things is super powerful. So that's the awareness part. Attitude is the second A. And while behavior changes are extremely important, I would say the mindset shifts that you have to undergo to sustain your success long term are equally as important. We're in this diet culture where everybody is saying things like, I fell off the wagon and diet starts Monday, and I had a piece of Halloween candy and I ruined my diet. And none of those all or nothing thought patterns are serving us. So it's really helpful to adopt some simple mindset shifts that will help you, again, sustain the success long term. And then the third A is accountability, which is where some type of coach can come in, or maybe your partner is also interested on taking the kind of path to healthier eating with you. Maybe it's a best friend or a sibling, but having some piece of accountability in your journey can be absolutely game-changing and can boost your odds of success by up to 95%.
It's amazing when you have that. I call it pure pressure sometimes of, hey, we're going to go eat healthy. They're like, I don't want to, but Johnny said we have to, so let's go. I like that. Or having a coach like yourself too. That point, you're doing it not only for you because you don't want to disappoint somebody else, but the result is big for you in general. It all comes back to you.
Totally. And, my husband and I are kind of aligned at this point. So I say, I'm not perfect, even though I do nutrition coaching for a living. I am human. So even yesterday, we had planned to do a strength training circuit. It hit 5 p.m., 5:36. And I was saying, let's just skip it tonight. I don't want to do it. He's like, no, let's just go do it. It's 20 minutes, right? If you just have that person that snaps you out of it and says, you got this, you can do this. And then you're able to develop these effortless habits that don't feel as tough anymore. But getting that accountability partner, especially in the beginning, can be huge.
And I think it's because you're trying to break a habit of not doing something that's healthy for you. And what I've seen is that shift, like you're talking about, to doing a better habit is pretty difficult mentally, physically, behavior-wise, action-wise, everything. So when you have an accountability partner or a coach or say a group of friends or family that like you, at that point, how can that be a negative way where you need to filter out some people that are not beneficial?
It's interesting. There's actually research that suggests that weight gain and weight loss can even be kind of contagious if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
typically the people you're surrounding yourself with have similar likes, dislikes, and eating habits as you. So,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that clients will struggle with is if they hire me and their partner isn't on board, switching their eating habits, or maybe they have kids in the house or
Yeah.
teenagers who are
Mm-hmm.
wanting all of the candy and the baked goods. So how can they adopt new, healthier habits with everything else that's going on around them? And that's a really critical piece, right? To just, like you said, have that person kind of in your
Yes.
corner cheering you on. And my approach, it's not like, let's get all of the quote unquote bad stuff out of the
Mm-hmm.
house so that everybody in your household ends up hating you. It's
We all
just,
suffer, right? We all suffer
yeah,
because that person wants it. No,
everybody has to do this. It's just kind
no.
of, what are some things that you can do? What are things you can start eating and prioritizing so that you feel better? And then people can still enjoy the things that they want. But it can really help, especially if your partner isn't on board yet. Maybe they will be in the
Mm-hmm.
future. But it can help to, again, have a coach or a friend or a sibling that is on your side, quote
Good,
unquote.
good, good. And you mentioned, what's the A word for mindset?
Attitude.
Attitude. Okay, so what attitude do you usually see going into coaching, and then that shift to different words or phrases or attitude or mindset as they get it and as they maintain that lifestyle?
Yeah, it really depends on the person. One client right now is coming to mind. She's very hard on herself, and she
Mm-hmm.
does have a long history of dieting and feeling like
Okay.
everything has to be perfect. And if she's not doing everything, then might as well do nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
one kind of attitude mantra we have her repeating to herself is progress, not perfection, and
Good.
really focusing on the progress piece, and every call talking about what are small ways you've made progress? Let's focus on that. What are ways you weren't perfect? Let's release that. We're not going to
Yes.
focus on perfection. It's not, if I don't get a 30-minute workout in, I should do nothing, right? Go for a 5-minute walk. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes. So it's just breaking out of these all or nothing mindsets is a big piece. And then there are others as well, but I would say that's the biggest one, especially because I think that's what we hear from the diet culture out there is you're either on a diet or you're off a diet. There's no in between.
Well, like you mentioned too, even with the workouts too, there's programs people follow, correct? If you're
Mm-hmm.
not following the program, there's really no modification of that program. If you want to see these results, you need to follow. It's a math equation. There's
Right.
no variation. So, and when you have variations, then you go, it's all right. I may have skipped a day. Let me get back on track tomorrow. Because my goal is 2-3 months now. I want to be here. It's not tomorrow. The show's not tomorrow, right?
Totally. And there's really cool kind of hacks. Like, I really like
Mm-hmm.
that piece of it of how can we kind of hack our minds and
Mm-hmm.
make habits easier. So one that I love is just kind of the 5-minute rule is if you think you can't do a workout or go for a walk, you're just exhausted, just tell yourself you only have to do it for 5 minutes. You can do
Mm-hmm.
anything for 5 minutes. And typically what people see is they start for 5 minutes and they start feeling so good, whether it
Mm-hmm.
is on the Peloton or outside walking around the block, that they end up staying on or walking for 10, 15, 20 plus minutes. But just getting yourself started is sometimes the toughest part. And that can be a good hack of just do it for 5 minutes and see how it goes.
I like that. Or if you have something scheduled at say 5:30, you just go for 5 minutes at that time. The problem, the same thing for me, for example, 5:30 becomes 6:30, then all of a sudden you're watching the Food Network. That cake looks really good on TV. And like, why it's getting dark outside, it's getting cold. Why would I go outside? So it's finding. Is it good to schedule a time to actually do your, if you want to call it workout or work on nutrition, whatever it is?
Yes. I am huge into scheduling. If you think about it, you schedule everything else in your life, probably
Mm-hmm.
down to a T, especially if you're a parent. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but we don't typically schedule things like planning and meal prep and movement. So put it in the calendar. That's also a great self accountability tool. If you don't have somebody else on board or if you don't have a coach, just kind of taking 30 minutes on a Sunday, let's say, and putting into your
Mm-hmm.
calendar, I'm going to walk for 15 minutes here between meetings. I'm going to spend 30 minutes in the kitchen boiling some eggs and roasting some vegetables here. And, get those systems in place and those scheduled meetings with yourself in the calendar.
Yes.
And that goes a long way.
I think a lot of it is when you write things down and put in your phone, for example, you're able to remember it, but now like you said, you're accountable. Now it's on the schedule. It's not maybe I'll do it at 4:30, maybe I'll do it at 6. It's like, and then you're like, not have an out. No, I don't want an out. No.
Totally. And I think also going along with that, the more specific you can be, the better. So even if you just put work out into your calendar, you'll find when the time hits, you're exhausted after the day. You're thinking, oh, what do I do? Should I do a video? Should I go on the treadmill? And so if you actually put in there specifically work out, and then the specific yoga YouTube video you like to do, when that time hits, okay, this is the thing I'm doing. And that decision fatigue doesn't ruin your progress.
There's no one in your shoulder going, hey, let's do something easy today.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you had mentioned too, working out in the evening. Is it okay to work out in the morning too? Or how do you figure out someone's, if you want to call it, best time for them to work out, to meal prep, to even eat? How do you work with them? How do you find that out? What's your formula?
The formula is really just a one size fits one approach. Good. We have all of these recommendations coming at us, and there will be a New York Times headline of you have to work out before you eat or after you eat. And then people think, oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong. And then they become so overwhelmed and debilitated that they just give up. So figure out what works best for you. Try it. Yeah. Constantly reflect. Ask yourself, is this working? If you're not showing up for your morning workouts, if you keep skipping them, maybe that's not the best time for you. Maybe it would be better to do a lunch break workout or to work out in the evening. It's really just figuring out what's going to be sustainable for you so that it won't be something you do for 2 weeks. It'll be something you do for 20 years.
Good. I like that. And you want to make sure your accountability partner too is on the same page too, correct? Or your group, whatever you're going to work out with, if it's a workout or even a meal prep, at that point, if you're on different pages, then nobody works out.
Yeah, it's so true. It could even just be like with my one-on-one clients, we text between calls. It could even just be having a friend that you text and maybe you commit to both working out at the same time, or maybe you have different schedules and you say, when I'm going to go work out, I'm going to text you. Or when I'm deciding I'm not going to work out, I'm going to text you and I want you to kind of motivate me or say, no, you can do this, right? Do it for 5 minutes. So there's a lot of ways you can do it, even if you're not on the same schedule, if you have an accountability partner.
Yeah, down here in Southern California, I have a buddy of mine. He has a 3-car garage, him and his wife's CrossFit certified. So they converted the whole garage during COVID into a CrossFit gym. Wow. When you do a 5:30 workout, one group, then a 6 o'clock workout, next group is in that group text the night before. They send out the workout. They send out what time work's going to be and what the workout may be in the warm up. And then people respond, I can't make it tomorrow, or I'm not feeling up to, like, we'll come by and pick you up if you need to go.
Wow.
We'll make sure you're there. And sometimes it gets a little bit, it's whatever. But something like, it's basically adult bullying at this point. But they show up, and then when they leave, they're happier than if they didn't show up. So it's something that when you have that community group and maybe 1 or 2 people, or even a coach too, that gives you enough time, I think, to see results, correct? So once you've gone enough, then you see the results. Because why I'm doing this. Yes. What does it take someone on average to actually get to that point to where they go, okay, and again, maybe per person, to where they have that shift in mindset from I want to say a negative mindset, but more of defeatist mindset to more of a positive lifestyle change mindset. What does it take someone to get there?
It can honestly happen as quickly as just a week. One of my clients, we take small pieces at a time. So in our first call, we kind of figure out what is one area you're going to work on, and we're not going to do everything at once. That's a mistake people make of just, let's change every habit. So we say, let's take a small piece of the day. So with this client, it was lunch, and she started getting more protein at lunch. That was the only thing she was doing. And the next call, which was just about 10 days later, she said, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better I feel in the afternoon. I feel so energized. I don't feel like I need to go to bed at 4 p.m. And that was just one change over about 10 days. So it can happen instantaneously. It's not that you're going to maybe feel 100% better every minute of the day, but even if you just hone in on these 5 hours after lunch, I feel incredible. That can be enough to kind of be the inspiration to make another change and then another change.
You're almost giving someone that hope. Okay, we've done one step. What's the next that we can take? You're seeing that pride in their voice. I'm seeing a difference. Now what do you do next to make that overall change, Brooke, improve even more?
Exactly. It's kind of like the quick win. If you have 30 pounds to lose, that's going to take a while. And it should take a while. You shouldn't lose it in 2 weeks on some crazy fad diet, because that's not sustainable. So it's focusing on the quick wins in between and not just the maybe larger goal of the 30-pound weight loss.
Good. And talking about overall nutrition, what are some foods people, if you want to call it, really, really, really like? And how do you get them to, for example, make that part of their lifestyle change, but also make them, if you want to call it, lose weight or be healthier? For example, mine are French fries. What do? I love French fries. I don't know if you do.
I also love French fries.
Yes. I tell my buddy, this morning we had V-ups, we had total bar workout, we had some other stuff, even pull-ups too. I go, I love to do more pull-ups, but I love French fries too at the same time. What do I do?
So one really cool mindset exercise you can do to still enjoy all foods in moderation is what I call the worth it chart. So what I would tell you to do, and listeners, try this, create on a piece of paper, whatever, a double column chart. And in the left column, write worth it. In the right column, write not worth it. And I want you to get really specific with the worth it. So, for example, I like French fries. So past me would have just said, I love French fries, and I would have eaten every French fry every time I saw them at a restaurant or something. But
you're
then
saying that's not good, correct? That's not good?
Well, and it's not probably ideal, right, in terms of portion control. But what I really realized is now this is going to be weird, I like the soggier French fries, not the super crispy ones. Those are my favorite. And so the crunchy ones, not my favorite. I just really don't enjoy them. So in my worth it chart, I would put what's really worth it to me is when they're kind of undercooked French fries. And not as worth it is the super crispy, overcooked ones. So now when I'm at a restaurant and I have French fries on my plate, I know for me it's worth it to eat the ones that taste best to me. They give me the satisfaction. And then I'll usually just leave the very crispy ones there because I don't like them as much, and maybe somebody else will eat them. But getting very specific, another example would be, I used to think I just liked chocolate chip cookies, but I like really gooey homemade chocolate chip cookies. I don't really I guess I don't like crispy anything. I don't like crispy chocolate chip cookies. So now I kind of wait for the gooey ones, and I'm not kind of wasting my calories on ones that aren't giving me the satisfaction that I'm looking for.
Now, Brooke, you're making me hungry, but let's focus on the talk today. And going back to French fries too, because there's different French fries, right? There's string French fries, there's steak French fries. Do you get that specific too with worth it and what's worth it, what's not worth it?
Yeah. Good. So I don't like the steak thick French fries.
Okay.
So if those are at a restaurant, I would never order those. But if there are, what are the crinkle cut?
Oh, the curly ones or no? Not the curly ones, right?
I do like curly fries. I love a spicy curly fry. But it's important to get really specific because French fries is such a huge category. So figure out what you really love of that food. And then another thing to keep in mind is we can enjoy all things. All foods can fit. All foods can't fit all the time. So probably if you're eating French fries, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that's not going to help you achieve your goals. But there are different hacks.
Cutting that out, never mind.
Yeah, there are different hacks to do at restaurants as well. Like if I'm getting a burger and it comes with fries, maybe I'll skip the bun on the burger and say, today the fries are worth it. Or maybe if the bun on the burger looks amazing, then that day I'll get the burger with the bun, but I'll get a side salad instead. So it's kind of, making swaps here and there so that you're able to enjoy all your favorite foods, but you're eating the best of the best. Like you're on the lookout for the best thing that is going to give you that satisfaction.
Well, a lot of it is too, you had mentioned earlier, is maybe not eating all those fries or maybe not eating the bun. And then how do we get away from that mindset that I grew up on where if you had to finish your plate, what are you thinking? How do you
Yeah.
change someone's mindset about that?
I think just realizing there doesn't need to be a clean plate club. I hate
Right.
wasting food. So
Yeah.
it's possible to take home even bites from a restaurant in a small container, or on
Right.
your plate at dinner. You can put small bites left over into Tupperware and
Hmm.
have it later on. Or, for lunch, sometimes I won't eat everything and I'll put it in a little dish and I'll have it for a snack a few hours later, right? Those other bites. So it's, definitely breaking out of that mindset that you have to clean your plate. You don't have to waste food. But I would also say serve yourself. I know some of my
Right.
clients are in families where somebody else serves them and they put way too much food on their plate. So, maybe that's a conversation to have with your partner of, oh, I really
Mhm.
appreciate you making this meal. I know you love serving me, but for my goals and for me figuring out what works for my body, it's better if I kind of put portions on my plate so that I can better meet my own needs.
And going sticking with food too, how does meal prep work to help someone maintain a certain lifestyle and make it more controlled eating, if you want to call it that?
Yeah, I think it's a Ben Franklin quote that's like fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Hmm.
So the more prepared you are, the easier you make healthy eating, the more likely you're going to be to stick with it. I mean, that is just something we all have to understand. Sometimes when we're just grabbing things from the cupboard, from boxes and bags, it's not even because that's what you really want. It's just that's what's easy to grab. So, how can you prep things? Hard boiled eggs. Maybe when you buy a big batch of vegetables, right when you get home, you chop them all up. So they're pre chopped and in the fridge and ready to grab. You don't have to even get out a knife, right? It's like, how can we
Yes.
make this the A to B as seamless as possible? So there are
Hmm.
no steps in between. There are so many easy things, string cheese, hummus is great to keep on hand. Rotisserie chickens are already cooked for you. Like there's a lot of stuff that's already prepared for you as well at the store that can help you, or, like pre-chopped bags of vegetables.
Yeah.
Figure out what will help you kind of stick with your goals and either prep it yourself or buy stuff that's already prepped for you.
And I think a lot of it is when you do that, then you're controlling when you're hungry what you're going to eat. Versus
Yes.
going, like you'd mentioned, going, man, that bag of chips looks great. No, don't do that. I went to we were on short on time, so I went to Albertsons, and you get a rotisserie chicken. It's easy. You bring it home, you eat it, you're good to go. You
Yeah.
know?
And like some people will say, I went to get fast food because I didn't have time. A lot of the stuff I make is faster than fast food. I mean, fast food
Oh my
requires the
gosh.
driving, the waiting in the line. I just
Yes.
made a lunch that took me under 5 minutes, right? It's like it can be so,
Mhm.
so fast. I do not spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
It's funny, where my exit is off the freeway to get home. It's right at my home. There's an In-N-Out on one side, and then it's Chick-fil-A on the other one. The line is at least 30 people deep in each one. By the
Yeah,
time I'm done going through the In-N-Out line, I've already eaten my food, taken a shower, taken dog for a walk, and I'm done. So
100%.
when people say you don't have time, it's spending the time on a Sunday or Saturday or during the week when you have to do shopping for the week. So at that point, you come home, you're ready to go.
And another really critical mindset shift can be catch yourself when you're saying, I don't have
Mhm.
time, because really what you're
Mhm.
saying is that's not a priority for me right now. So, like,
Good.
I don't have time to eat healthy. Reframe that as then eating healthy is just not something that's a priority to me right now. And sit with that and see how that makes you feel. And if you have this knee jerk reaction of, ooh, that's not so good,
Mm.
then start making time for it because we make time for things that are priorities to us.
And sometimes is it the human mind, because you went through the classes too, that tells us short-term satisfaction versus long-term goals?
It is, yeah. And I think, especially in our society today with Amazon Prime, or
Mhm.
we see people doing keto and losing so much weight immediately. You probably aren't seeing that person maybe gaining it all back eventually because they're not going to post about that. But
Mhm.
that's why it is important to focus on quick wins. So, anything, right? Directly connect the dots. If you have more energy in the afternoon and you made yourself a really great lunch that day, don't just think, oh, weird, I can't believe I have more energy. Directly connect that result to the action you took And that, again, will inspire you to keep going with more actions.
And is it bad, because I've heard back and forth with it, when you're dieting or changing your diet to feel hungry?
I think it depends because some people, I mean, I'm in these groups just kind of seeing what people are saying, and some people are eating 800 calories a day. I mean, crazy things, and they're hungry all the time. So that is not good, right? You've got to eat enough. But having a little bit of hunger is not always a bad thing. And, sit with it. Sometimes it can work to have a big glass of water. A lot of times you may think you're hungry, but you're actually extremely dehydrated. So just getting more water throughout your day. Maybe then if you are kind of hungry, an hour after lunch, going back and looking at what types of foods did I eat? Was I eating foods that actually keep me full? Did I get enough fiber through non-starchy vegetables? There's a lot of different things you can examine to look at the cause of the hunger. And so I'm not, you can lose weight without feeling ravenous all the time, which could be a new experience for people, because I think they're used to cutting back so many calories that they are just in like starvation mode.
I think that's where it's coming from, to where if you're not uncomfortable, then you must not be doing the right things to actually lose weight or gain muscle or feel good. You should feel uncomfortable to feel comfortable. It's kind of a weird concept. I understand the human body has to be stressed to get stronger. When it comes to nutrition, though, it shouldn't be that way, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way. And that's a big myth out there, that you have to be uncomfortable or miserable to lose weight. That is absolutely not true.
And we mentioned hydration too. How much what we drink, or do we worry about what foods or drinks we're doing that may be dehydrating our body also? How does hydration work?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of ways to go about getting more water. I would just say for a lot of people, that's a great place to start even. A good kind of rule of thumb could be stack a glass of water to every meal and snack you're eating. So every time you get some type of food, you have a glass of water right next to it. Also, maybe stack a glass of water to when you brush your teeth. So then if you think about it, if you're having 3 meals a day, 1 snack, and you're brushing your teeth twice, that would be 6 big glasses of water, right? Maybe you're used to drinking 1. So sometimes just stacking a new habit to an existing habit can be really helpful. But yeah, ideally we're aiming for lots of water each day. It differs based on each person in terms of how active you are. But we all need water. We're all made mostly of water. So get a lot of water.
Are there certain foods or even beverages that we normally consume that actually cause us to become dehydrated, or we need even more water?
Yeah, like sodium, for example. If you're eating a bunch of packaged processed foods, there could be a bunch of sodium in those, or
French fries?
Dressings. Yeah, French fries. A lot of the pre-made dressings or sauces, or even frozen foods, they can all have added sodium. So that's something to be aware of. But if you have more sodium, let's say, that's another thing that people think they gain weight overnight. They'll have a bunch of sodium at dinner, and then they'll have a lot of water retention. And then the next morning they'll say, oh my gosh, the scale went up 3 pounds. And you didn't gain 3 pounds of fat. You just are retaining water. So yeah, there's a lot of kind of myths to bust out there, but sodium's definitely a biggie. Not to say that you can't eat salt, but just be mindful, especially of like the added sodium in packaged and processed foods.
And when you're doing that, and going back to, I think, one of your 3 A's too, when you're learning about foods and how foods work, is it good to, when you're going to the store, to read what may be high in sodium versus low in sodium, what may be good for maybe high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat? Should you worry about, say, like, for example, French fries, but if they're prepackaged, at that point, are they resalted? Are they natural? Do you worry about those things with your clients too?
Yeah, I do. We usually take meal by meal. Ideally, you're eating things that you prepare for yourself from whole ingredients most of the time. So if most of the time you're eating things that you prep for yourself, and then you're eating packaged processed foods, let's say 10 to 20% of the time, it may not be that big of a deal. It's really switching, the standard American diet can be 80% processed packaged foods. So at that point, it'd probably be way more important to nitpick labels. But for sure, it's good to gain label awareness and to look at the ingredients in different things. look at the oils and different things, look at the fat
Mm-hmm.
content, the protein content. But ideally, you're not even looking at nutrition labels when you're making things because you're using real things that don't come with a label.
Mm-hmm. How about beverages too? Are sodas okay? Are Gatorades okay? Are sports drinks? What's your take on that for your clients?
So it's interesting. Research suggests for weight loss that drinking like zero sodas or no sugar or diet sodas can be helpful for a lot of people. Other clients I have experiment and they cut out sodas and they feel better and they feel like they're able to kind of maintain their goals better. There are some studies as well that suggest that different sodas could affect, or sweetened beverages could affect our microbiome and our gut health. That's kind of emerging research. But I would say, if you are used to drinking regular soda all the time and your goal is weight loss, it would probably be beneficial to switch to diet soda. And then ideally to wean yourself off of soda altogether, or at least mostly. But typically going from drinking a ton of soda to drinking all water isn't going to work, right? Like these extreme changes. So how can we ease into it through diet soda and then maybe replacing a diet soda with a water, and we'll just slowly ease into it.
Is it a lot of it is the taste of soda that makes people want to drink soda?
I think so, or just habits. I mean, I'll have a client who they're used to kind of that treat every afternoon. That they're used to going to the vending machine and getting a soda. So a lot of what we do is just very habitual, and it's just kind of figuring out and asking yourself, when you've set a specific goal, is this habit getting me closer to the goal or is it getting me further away? And, there's going to be some things that have to change. Another mindset shift I like to work on with clients is that change requires change. So if you keep doing the exact same things, you're not going to get new results. You have to make some changes here and there. So it's just figuring out which changes are going to be kind of most bang for your buck.
Well, I like that, because going back to what we were talking about before too, you're taking the worth it and not worth it column. You're putting everything on a map. And okay, this is what you eat Monday through Sunday. How do you want to use what you're eating now to start losing weight, gaining muscle, feeling better, and getting healthier? Because this isn't working right now. How are you going to change this to changing your mindset first to change this so you see the results? Correct?
Yes, exactly. And, there's so many parallels with money as well, like budgeting. If you think of calories even as money, it's kind of like, what do you want to spend your money calories on, right? Like we don't buy every single thing we see at the store. So in the same way, we can't eat every single thing we see that looks good. So maybe even think about it that way in terms of you set a budget for yourself with money. So the same idea of kind of you have this calorie budget for the treats and indulgences. So where do you want to spend those calorie dollars? What are the things that are truly worth it to you?
Perfect. And looking at not even dollars and cents, but an overall people's stress level, does stress affect your ability to lose weight, gain muscle, and feel better?
Absolutely. Yes. Stress and sleep, very closely related. Both can 100% affect your ability to lose weight, to keep it off long term. There's so many different stress management tactics out there. Sometimes they're kind of commandeered by the self-care world of it has to be a bubble bath or an expensive massage. It doesn't. Reframe stress management. It could be the walk you take outside. It could be a phone call with a friend long distance. It could be saying no to something and just giving yourself more space in your life. There are so many things you can do, but it's kind of like with sleep. It's just a matter of doing them. We kind of all know the things we should be doing for stress and sleep, but often we're not doing them.
And when we eat better over time, does that help our sleep improve?
Yes, it does. Can definitely help your sleep improve. Another cool hack for sleep is setting yourself up for sleep success right when you wake up. So getting sunlight and fresh air first thing, even, maybe moving a desk closer to a window where you get some natural sunlight, just getting your body that first glimpse of sunshine can really kind of help to set your circadian rhythm and set you up for success that night.
Good. We talked about a little about stress control too by exercise. how much does exercise take in the portion of losing weight and feeling better and nutritional health, if you want to call that?
Right. So this is another big misconception out there. Exercise is absolutely incredible for your heart health, your mental health, your overall health. It can be, it has anti-aging properties, can help you sleep better. Exercise is phenomenal, but it shouldn't be your go-to for weight loss. For weight loss, focus first and foremost on nutrition, and think of exercise as something amazing for your body, something that will give you energy. When you exercise, you can be more motivated to eat healthy. So it's great all around, but people who just tackle exercise and do all the fitness classes, but then are eating a bunch of calories to kind of make up for calories they've burned, or they're not fine tuning their nutrition, they're really going to struggle with weight loss.
And almost working uphill in the sense where, I'm going to go and run 5 miles, but then I'm going to go have a triple cheeseburger from In-N-Out. You're almost like, why even run the 5 miles and just don't eat the cheeseburger?
Lazy me.
It's like less effort. It's less effort that way, right? But people do it. But I think it's more of when, at least when I was a kid, I went to school downtown LA. We'd go and eat, even before we had our tradition, we'd go to the original Tommy's in downtown LA. You should probably go there when you come to LA next week. Go to original Tommy's. And at that point, we'd have 3 chili cheeseburgers and go and swim, do our morning swim workout, and we're still hungry for breakfast.
Right.
Is that where it comes from when we're teenagers, when you have the high metabolism, and all of a sudden it shifts when we're 20s and 30s, and all of a sudden we can't break that food down?
It could, yeah. I mean, metabolism is interesting. I interviewed an expert about it on my podcast, and he has this new emerging research that's actually showing that metabolism doesn't change as much as we once thought as we age. It could be other stuff going on. So he's not saying, for people who are saying it's harder to lose weight as I age, that could definitely still be true, but there could be so many other factors going into it. I would say for exercise, I mean, I think that's one of the most critical mindset shifts I had, was just I stopped tying any type of weight loss, weight maintenance thought to exercise. And now I just exercise to feel strong, to have energy, to sleep better, and for self-confidence. And those are all the things that go through my head when I'm thinking about exercise. And then when I'm thinking about maintaining my weight, it's all about nutrition. So that could be just even a simple mindset shift that someone could take away from this.
I think a lot of it is, and I was going to say that's probably the number one thing that I would focus on. Say pre just being educated like yourself too, is I could eat because I was going to go work out. I'm going to work out so I can go eat, and vice versa, or I can go have a drink, whatever it is too. And with your show, and talk about your podcast. What's your podcast about, Ms. Brooke?
So my podcast is called The Health Investment. And I cover a lot of topics. So with clients, I work mostly on nutrition and weight loss, but the podcast covers a whole breadth of topics. So I've had financial experts. I mentioned the guy about metabolism. I've had different dietitians, sleep experts, stress experts. So we cover all sorts of topics.
A lot of it is, I think, to become a health educator, not just nutritionist, not just a weight loss coach.
Exactly. So it's kind of, the podcast is more general, and then with clients, I'm more specific.
But it allows you to understand, and clients understand too, yes, let's worry about your nutrition. Let's worry about your overall health at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So your overall body's better, right?
Clients usually come to me for healthier eating and weight loss, but we do have conversations, like I said, about mindset, sleep, stress. I mean, it requires a holistic approach, especially for those sustainable results.
I think a lot of it is sustainable results. And when you're seeing that, what does it take for someone to be in a sustainable lifestyle? What's your range to where, okay, now I've gotten you here. I may do some maintenance with you here and there to check in with you, but now you're good. I know it's probably different for everybody. What's a good range for someone to change a physiological change in their body to accept that nutrition, accept that new lifestyle?
I would say 3 months minimum. So my one-on-one coaching program is 3 months, but then oftentimes if clients have a bunch of weight to lose, or, they're just kind of slower with adopting habits, everybody's different, they may do an additional 3 months. So I would say 3 to maybe even 6+ months. But once you get the rudimentary knowledge and you're figuring out what works for you, you're able to kind of stick with the habits that you've implemented, because at some point they do become effortless, and that's the goal, that you do things without thinking about them. But it does take several months. It's not overnight.
Well, and I've done shows, interviews with personal trainers, with military master trainers, with life coaches, with nutritionists like yourself, even yoga instructors too, and everything in the sun. 3 months is the minimum to see if there's a change in your body. So give yourself that commitment to yourself. And I like coaches because coaches, they give you the shortcut so you're not guessing all the time.
Yes.
You're paying them to, when you pay a coach, you're going to pay them to pay attention also.
Yeah.
You're not going to send Brooke a check. Hey, here, Brooke, here's a check for $1,000. We're good. Now I feel fine. I'm good now. No, you're going to want to get your money's worth return on investment over time. And I think Brooke has put information out there. She's passionate what she does, even beyond nutritional counseling and weight loss coach, to help you understand, hey, how to get you better.
Yeah. And I say, I want you to fire me eventually. Like, that's my goal,
Good.
right? That you use me for a time and you get all the knowledge and habits in your life that, like I say, are most bang for your buck. So you're getting the best results with the least effort. And that's really, truly possible. There's so much out there that's a waste of time, money, and energy. And, people focus on those things and they end up just spinning their wheels, and it's exhausting. And there is a shortcut, right? If you can just get, here's exactly what you need, use this, and then you don't need Brooke anymore, and you're set for life.
Yeah, once you listen to Brooke enough, you tell her what you do, what she tells you to do. That when you have your road to success mapped out in front of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
that's it.
And it seems crazy. I mean, people will say this sounds too good to be true, but it's because there's all these mixed messages out there. You can just ignore all of that stuff forever then, which is so freeing.
And you have to do the work though, right? They have to meal prep. You're not going to go to their house and meal prep for them. Hey, here's your food for the week. I'm going to do the exercise for you too. I'll sleep for you too. No, you have to follow through with everything. Change your habits so that change in your body is accepted. So your lifestyle changes. So your foods change.
Yes, 100%.
What is your Instagram about? What's your Instagram? What do you do on Instagram also? What's your Instagram?
So Instagram is at The Health Investment. Website is thehealthinvestment.com. It's just pretty streamlined. So I'm on stories a lot on Instagram. I think that's kind of fun. I do a lot of videos, like reels, I guess you call them. So yeah, there's just a bunch of tips on there. Check it out. And feel free to message me as well. I love connecting with people, making social media more social.
You do a TikTok also? Tic-tac-toe?
I do TikTok. I just started TikTok. Yeah. And that's a whole other world, but you can find me there at The Health Investment too, but I'm not as good with that one yet.
Well, the thing is, you're putting information out there. So wherever someone is, when they're ready to make the decision, hey, I got to do something about my health because now I have this going on, you're there in their face. It's almost like being on TV, right? You see a commercial. If I pay for a commercial just once a month, I'm going to get no one to see me. But if I do it every day on all the channels, at that point, people are going to see me eventually to understand, hey, I'm in this for the long run. At that point, hey, I'm worth it for you. You're building your brand, your reputation, so you can come down here and have Tommy's Burgers when you're down here in LA and not worry about it.
Exactly. Now I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
It's actually really good. Just make sure you realize it'll be a little greasy. You'll have fun.
That's
and
fine.
With your Facebook group too, what's your Facebook group about? Your Facebook page.
So the Facebook group is connected to a free guide I have. So if you just go to thehealthinvestment.com, there's a guide called Lose Weight for the Last Time. And if you download that guide, you get a link to a free Facebook group. And I'm in there every Wednesday at 10 a.m. answering questions. Even if it's just like, hey, Brooke, I was targeted by this Facebook ad. Does this program work? I'm happy to give you advice on different things you found, different things you're planning on trying, any questions you have about how to set up your plate, just trying to be as useful as possible in there.
Well, I think a lot of it is you're creating goodwill and good karma for people to realize, hey, look, I'm here. You don't have to pay me. Just you want advice? I'll give you advice.
Yes,
it makes us feel good, right? By doing it.
Yeah, I just truly want to help as many people as possible so that they don't have to try the diets and fads, because that is a miserable life. I've been there.
Yes. And also your 17-page guide also that you can download from your website. Is that the same thing or is that something different?
Yep, that's the lose weight for the last time guide. And there's a bunch of kind of mindset talk in there. There's actual pictures. I do well with visuals. So there's pictures, kind of ways to set up your plate for weight loss. And yeah, again, you join the group if you choose to when you download that guide, and I can answer any questions.
That's awesome. You're like I said before, a health advocate for people, not just what you're focusing on as your, if you want to call it service. You know, a lot of people that actually get healthier again for the long run, so sustain it for the rest of their life. So,
yeah.
Anything else to add for the show? We kind of went over all topics. I think you gave me some information how to choose my fries I want to choose instead of anything else. At that point, I'll focus on that myself. And also, what was the hack too we had mentioned too? That was the most important thing. What was it? It was about 42 minutes. What was that about?
Oh, the hack. Oh, maybe like do something for 5 minutes.
I like the 5 minute one too. There's another one too. I'll think about it. I'll put on the show in the show notes before too. It was about 42 minutes we talked about, so I was keeping track of it. But a lot of it is the information you gave us today would help anyone, especially in the holidays. Just again, October 2000 or November now, 2021, the holidays. How do we now change our lifestyle by changing our plate, but not again worry about exercise? Keep that exercise over there. To not worry about that as part of our overall. I think that's what it was. To making exercise a way not to equate nutrition or diet loss or weight loss, but as a separate thing for our overall body's health and energy and getting our body strong and healthy for the day versus nutrition being part of our weight loss program or healthy and our looking good type of thing.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
That's what it was. That took me a second to get back. Anything else you want to add to the show? You did phenomenal. I think you did great. And obviously you have your own show, you know what to do. So anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I think that's good. I had a great time.
It was good. I learned a lot again. And I like to put some comedy in there too. At that point, people, it just makes it fun. Which one was fun,
for
right?
sure. Yeah.
No.
Got to keep it lighthearted.
Yes. Well, thank you for being on the show, Brooke. We appreciate all your information. I'm gonna turn the show off. We'll stay on the broadcast in a second. And thank you everyone for watching and hope you enjoy the show. Thank you.